We are watching the FDA today as we expect the final sign-off from the agency on Pfizer's COVID vaccine for kids ages 5 to 11. After that, the CDC is going to meet about it. That's next week, Tuesday, with the possibility that those first shots could be given out next Wednesday or Thursday. Between the news about kids' vaccines and word of a possible fourth COVID shot being needed for some people. Lots of big developments this week. Tons of great questions as well. So I want to bring in Dr. David Winter from Baylor Scott and White Health to help answer some of them. Good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning. Always good to see you.
So I want to start, Dr. Winter, with a kind of a procedural question. Can you explain the difference between emergency use authorization and full FDA approval? Because for kids, in this case, right, this would be granted as emergency use authorization, the go-ahead.
Yeah, emergency use authorization was established after the 9/11 terrorist attacks to make sure that if it was a potentially life-saving product out there, it could be used in an emergency very quickly. Now, they still go through rigorous trials to make sure that the product, the vaccine in this case, is safe and effective. They just go a lot quicker. So then a formal process looks at more studies, but EUA is for people to get fast availability of potentially life-saving vaccines.
Yeah. So one of the most common questions I've gotten this week, what should I do if my kid is on the cusp of ages 11 and 12? Because as we know, the dosage that we're talking about for kids 5 to 11 is a third, so a far smaller dose, 10 micrograms, right? The adult dose, or those for older kids, is 30 micrograms. So for those kids ages 11 and a half, what should parents do?
Well, they ought to get the vaccine that's for 11-year-old kids. I mean, that's very, very clear. 12-year-olds are different from 11-year-olds. And I think you ought to get the vaccine that's available most quickly for you. Some are saying, some of my patients say, well, I've got an 11-year-old, I may wait till they turn 12 to get the vaccine. I get the most appropriate vaccine for you as soon as you can.
And Dr. Winter, with boosters available right now, a lot of people are asking, well, what is considered fully vaccinated? Is it 2 doses? Is it 3 doses if we're talking about mRNA vaccines? And also, I think a lot of people are wondering, will that change? And then I also want to talk to you about, two-part question here. What is up with the 4th dose that we're starting to hear about?
Well, still, the full recommendation is that you're fully vaccinated when you've had 2 Modernas or 2 Pfizers, or for that matter, 1 J&J. That's a full vaccinated person. Now, booster shots are for those that might have more susceptibility to the virus, and those have been recommended 6 months after the second shot of Pfizer or Moderna, or actually 2 months after the J&J shot. And that, how long is that going to last? That's the whole question. How long do these vaccines work? We don't really know the answer to that. This is a novel virus, meaning a brand new virus to the human race. How long it's going to last, we don't know. They're currently thinking that 6 months after the 3rd booster shot, if it's Pfizer or Moderna, you might want to get a 4th shot. Now, that'll be in the springtime. I think more information between now and then. We don't know that for sure. It'd be nice if we had some way to judge that, Sonia, like an antibody level. And the ID folks tell me that they're not very reliable. They're misleading. They don't even recommend that. But we'll figure this out between now and the springtime.
And the 4th shot would just be, you're just kind of continuing to boost. Is that the idea?
It'll be just like the 3rd shot, the 3rd booster, indeed, yes.
Okay. Now, for parents who go, well, my kid had COVID and he or she recovered, so how long should I wait before getting him or her a vaccine? What do you tell those people?
Yeah, that's a good question. We know that if you've had COVID, whether you're a child or an adult, and you get a vaccine, you have the best chance of not getting sick again with something severe. So it's a good idea to get a boost or get a vaccine once you've had COVID. Now, you don't want to wait too long. Certainly 3 months is probably the longest you'd want to wait, and earlier than that, probably with children. We don't know the exact answer, but what I've seen is folks who do get a vaccine after COVID, they don't have a big reaction. They seem to do very well with that. So I recommend folks that have COVID, have gotten COVID, if you hadn't had a vaccine, please get a vaccine. It'll make you much more protected against severe illness.
You know, Dr. Winter, we got 45 seconds left, but some FDA panelists who I listened in on that meeting earlier this week voted yes to move forward, of course, but they did so with hesitation. Frankly, they were saying they want to make the vaccine available to the kids who need it most, but that some kids should be just fine without it at this point while studies continue. Do you agree?
Well, there's no question most kids do fine when they get COVID. However, just a month or so ago, our children's hospitals were full and overflowing with children who are seriously ill. So it does happen to them. So for that, I would actually want my children or grandchildren to get a vaccine. Second big reason, those kids that may have minimal symptoms or no symptoms can bring that home to mom, dad, grandparents, folks that are immunocompromised, so they can be spreaders. So I encourage children to get a vaccine. I encourage the patients to get their child's vaccinated, indeed.
All right, Dr. Winter, thank you so much as always for the great information. By the way, if you want to learn more about the vaccine for kids or COVID vaccines really in general, you can text the word vaccine to the number on your screen, 214-977-6028. We'll send a link directly to your phone.